welcome back to KAMMA. I'm Khalil Deal,
Mandio.
and we are KAMMA. We are about to talk about the early predictions for the main card for UFC Fight Night Vegas 97, Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. And I'm going to get Andy O to read us off who's in the card here.
All right, so first off, opening it up, we got Rong Zhu against Chris Padilla. Then we have Trevor Peek against Yanal Shmuz. It's on a match Schnell against Cody Durden because this here is a late replacement. You know us, KAMMA. We bring you the latest and greatest once we get it. So
Just
it's
found this news out right now.
like right now. So Matt Chanel has a new opponent instead of Alessandro Costa. It's going to be Cody Short Notice Durden. Next up, we got the Canadian Kyle Nelson against Steve Garcia. Then it's the other ladies fight, Jessica Andrade against Natalia Silva. And of course, the main event with Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. All right, Real Deal. Who do you got for this first fight? Rong Zhu against Chris Padilla.
All right, we'll start it right off with Rongju versus Chris Padilla here, man. I got to go with Chris Padilla to get the win in this one, man. I don't have any faith in Rongju. This guy is a pretty decent fighter. The thing is, though, again, he's just one of these guys here that's in the road to UFC. You know how they are, man. They fight a bunch of cans. They work their way up. They work their way up, and they get into the UFC through their road to UFC off of a bunch of wins against a bunch of lower level bums. You know, he did have he did have one fight in the UFC, Rongju, and he lost to Ignacio Bahamondes. He got subbed by him in his UFC debut back in 2022
It's
against
not a bad
Bahamondes.
loss.
Then after that, they kicked him out, and then he had to go back through the road to UFC to get back here. Chris Padilla is going to be a step up in competition. I like Chris Padilla here. I think he's very live, and he just got a sub against James Longtop in his last win. So you know, Rongju has been subbed before. Chris Padilla, he just won by submission. I think Chris Padilla can win again and get a submission on Rongju or win by knockout. I think a finish is live here. He's got some power, Chris Padilla. He's pretty strong. He knocked out Justin James. The fight before that, he subbed Soro Minasayan, the fight before that. And again, sub James Lontop. So he can get some finishes, man. 28 years old, you know, he's in his prime. Zhu Rong is 24. You know, and he's also going to have a 2-inch reach advantage for Chris Padilla. Actually, a 1.5-inch reach advantage there, not that much. But Chris Padilla, man, he's a bit better on the feet, and I like him on the ground as well. I got him winning this one. Who you got?
Yeah, here I got Rong Zhu. Chris Padilla's
Terrible.
path to victory here is to try and get him down and get the sub because yeah, he's not bad at the subs, but I don't find his takedowns all that great. I think Rong Zhu, like the thing about him, sure, he's one of those guys that fought a lot of subpar competition coming up, but he's different than the other guy earlier in the card because I can actually see that this guy's got skills and talent, you know? So even though he came up against shittier guys, doesn't mean he's not skilled. I think he's better on the feet than Padilla. I think he's showing improvements, and I think his path to victory is to stop those takedowns, and I think he will have shown improvements there. And once he does that throughout the fight, I really think he's gonna piece Chris Padilla up. And he's just got to be careful with those subs if Chris Padilla gets down there. Other than that, I think Rongju should win a decision here.
Rongju, man, he did fight in the UFC before, and when he did fight in the UFC, his first fight was actually to Rodrigo Vargas, where he lost a unanimous decision. Rodrigo Vargas is really not that great. And he did win against Brandon Jenkins, who's also not that great. And then he lost to Ignacio Bahamondes by submission. So, you know, every time he fights in the UFC, he pretty much loses, except for the, you know, that one win that he got there. I really don't think that he's that good of a fighter. I think Chris Padilla is better. You know, I don't know. I just see Chris Padilla winning this one. I think that Chris Padilla, the guy's got 5 submissions, so he's very good at subbing, and he's got 7 knockouts, only 2 decision wins. So he's a finisher out there. He goes out there and tries to finish you. And yeah, I just think he's a better fighter than Zhu Rong, and I think that he's going to be able to get the submission and get him on the ground. And that's where I think that Zhu Rong is not that good when he gets put on his back on the ground. He's not that good on the ground at all. You know,
He's probably better than James Longtop, that's for sure.
a lot of these Chinese fighters, man, very, very poor grappling and wrestling. So I could see Chris Padilla taking him down and getting a ground and pound finish or a submission on him in that one. So I'm going for Chris Padilla in this one, man. We disagree on the first fight of the main card. Let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Trevor Peek coming back against Yanal Ashmouz, man. I'm curious to know who you got here, Andio.
Here, well, this is an interesting fight to smash and grabbers, I guess. I feel the public opinion and popularity is going to be on Peak's side, and that's great for me, especially earlier in the week, since my pick is going to be Yanal Ashmouz. Real simple here. The only guy that Trevor Peak can really beat is some Yaya, one of the Yayas, and that's not saying that much. And this happened couple fights ago. He beat Muhammad Yaya, who's like
Yeah,
six.
Mohamed Yaya's crap.
Yeah, he's
Absolute
garbage.
trash.
Just garbage. Charlie Campbell, a guy with a little more skill, he lost no problem, split decision. Actually, that one went to decision. No one thought it would. And he got beaten up by Chepe Mariscal. Thing is with him, he knows what his role is, and everybody loves like a backwoods trailer park battler, you know? And that's what you're going to get out of him. But I think Ashmouz is good in that style as well, a little more skilled, and he has better kicks. So I think he's going to end up beating him with a knockout. And I just remember Trevor Peak, I don't know who it was against. It could have been Charlie Campbell, and they were on the ground at one point. And he could have been going for a sub or two. And the guy didn't even understand like anything he was doing down there. It was so clear. You could have explained to him, all right, since since you know nothing, just pull the limb the opposite way it should go. That's, he couldn't really get his way around that hurdle, and ended up doing nothing with his position. Very funny stuff. Still love the guy, exciting fights, but I think Ashmouz is just gonna beat him at his own game here.
All right, man.
By
So
knockout. Give me Ashmouz by knockout.
you know what, man? I was going back and forth because I do like Trevor Peak. I think he's fun to watch. He's
Who
exciting.
doesn't?
The guy goes in there. He's a dog, and he goes in there and he fights to the death. And he's a brawler. But that's exactly his problem. He's too much of a brawler, too much of a wild guy. And Yanal Ashmouz is a more precise, technical fighter. He punches very, very hard, and especially that Trevor Peak likes to advance, leaves his head wide open a lot.
Yeah.
He's easy to hit. He absorbs a lot of strikes, Trevor Peak, man. He takes a lot of shots, and Ashmouz hits really hard. So I've got Yanal Ashmouz to win in this one as well.
Nice.
I think Trevor Peak's overrated. I think Trevor Peak only is a one-trick pony. He comes in there and he goes wild, and if he catches you with something, catches you with a knockout. Otherwise, he has difficulty. Like against Charlie Campbell, he had difficulty. Against Chepe Mariscal, he had difficulty. And even against Muhammad Yaya, he should have finished him, and he couldn't even finish him. I remember I had a bet on Trevor Peak to finish Muhammad Yaya, and he couldn't do it, and it pissed me off. And his only knockout really was against Eric Gonzalez in his UFC debut. So I don't think he's fought really very good fighters except for Chepe and Charlie Campbell is even Charlie Campbell's decent. But I feel like Yanal Ashmouz is a guy that's just a little bit better than him. Yanal Ashmouz, don't forget, knocked out Sam Patterson. We saw how good Sam Patterson was. And
Well, yeah,
Chris
but
Duncan was a really good fighter. Chris Duncan is amazing. So
he found Sam Patterson with all those tall, lanky guy problems. He caught him holding his gin with his gin.
exactly, and I think that this is what's going to happen to Trevor Peak here. Yanal's going to catch him with a hard left, or hit him with a punch as he's coming in. Catch him, get him, maybe wobble him. And then I think he'll take him down, Yanal, and then ground and pound him. So I got Yanal Ashmouz as well, winning by knockout in this one. Good pick there, Andy. I didn't think you were going to go for him, but yeah, definitely like that, man. I'm in agreement. I think he's just way overhyped, Trevor Peak, man, and I'm off the train of Trevor Peak here. But if he wins, good for him. But just I'm a little bit I'm jumping off the train. All right, moving on next to the next fight here. We got Matt Schnell against Cody Durden, and this is a fight here that just got changed, like we discussed here. And just mentioned it to y'all. Matt Schnell was supposed to fight Alessandra Costa, man, and Alessandra Costa withdrew. So now it is against Cody Durden. Now I already had a pick of Alessandra Costa to win, and it's going to be the same thing with this one, man. You couldn't find a more beautiful opponent than Cody Durden. This is perfect for Cody Durden to get back in the game, coming off of a 2-fight losing streak there. Lost his last 2 fights. And I think that this is a pickup. And that's why I think he took this fight, because he was like, yo, I could beat this guy and get back in the game. You know what I mean? So definitely like Cody Durden in this one. I think he's a better brawler. Very good on the ground. Decent striker. He's a dog too. Goes out there and fights like a maniac. And Matt Schnell's chin is just absolute garbage. Matt Schnell is getting knocked out by gusts of wind at this point. I mean, the last fight he lost to Steve Erceg by knockout was a straight right and left hook combo. Mateus Nicolau knocked him out with a punch to ground and pound. And then even Brandon Royval subbed him. So he's just getting finished all the time here.
Years and years before, your grandma knocked him out even, I believe. Yeah.
And on Cody Durden's side, man, yeah, he lost, but he lost to 2 very, very good fighters. We're talking Tajir Ulanbekov and we're talking Bruno Silva, so these are 2 top tier guys. This is Matt Schnell we're talking about, a step down in competition here. So I like Cody Durden to get the win. They're about the same height. He's going to have a couple of inches reach advantage, Matt Schnell, but I don't really think that's anything value there. I like that Cody Durden's beaten Carlos Mota, beaten Charles Johnson, beaten Jake Hadley. I mean, he's fought the tough motherfuckers, man. Yeah, I think he's going to be able to knock out Matt Schnell here, or even get a submission. So I got Cody Durden by finish in this one. I think he's too good to fight Matt Schnell, and Matt Schnell's chin is just garbage.
Yeah, I'd have to say Matt Schnell's chin seems to be done. I think he's taken way, way too much punishment. Like, looking back, he's lost against great guys too, but it's just something about the way he fights and the way he leaves himself open. And the last win he got was in Sumar Dodgery, and it was a triangle choke in round 2, but I think he was getting beaten up in that one, or at least he took a few good shots in that one. But looking back, he was actually scheduled to fight Alex Perez like 4 times in a row, which never happened, which is just kind of weird. But yeah, my pick is going to be Durden to hard nose his way to a victory.
Yeah, there's no way Matt Schnell can sub Cody Durden. There's no way he subs Cody Durden. He's way too good.
Yeah, maybe some ground and pound action later on in the fight. I think he is tough, Matt Schnell. You got to hand it to him. He's not going to get knocked out too early in this one. But I do think Durden is live for a finish later in this fight. So just give me Durden by knockout or decision.
Nice. We are in agreement in this one here. I definitely I can't see Matt Schnell winning this fight, man. All right, let's move on up to the next fight. We got Kyle Nelson from Canada versus Steve Garcia.
Yeah, well, I can't resist to pick the good old Canadian boy here against Steve Garcia. This is where the buck finally stops for Steve Garcia. I'm going with the slight underdog, Kyle Nelson, to welcome him back to reality with, who knows with Kyle Nelson? Is he going to come full of intensity and great kicks? Or is he going to slow the fight down to a sales pace? You never know with the new Kyle Nelson. I predict, though, the kicks will provide an advantage for him early on. He's got to maintain that length and try to weaken Garcia, because he's not a bad kickboxer, Nelson. And then it could potentially open up for takedowns for him later. But at some point, he's got to get in Steve Garcia's face quickly after weakening him with kicks. He can't let Steve Garcia dictate the pressure. I still say Steve Garcia is a bit overrated. And I say he definitely lost his last fight 5 times over, because he should have been disqualified 5 times for hitting that guy in the back of the head 5 times and destroying my underdog South Korean special parlay on that one.
Yeah,
So
I remember you. I think this is a little biased here.
uh,
I think you have a grudge here against
I
Steve
think Kyle
Garcia.
Nelson is a smart fighter. I think he's real underrated though, and you know I haven't been super high on Steve Garcia for a little while now, and here I'm going to get paid for it. Kyle Nelson, baby, give me Kyle Nelson by decision or knockout even.
I can't do it. Even though I like Cal Nelson and he's in Canada, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I got to go with Steve Garcia, man. Steve
Ooh.
Garcia is just too powerful, and we've seen Cal Nelson get rocked. I like Steve Garcia's punching power. It's just it's really something.
He has to be careful, if that's for sure.
I mean, the guy is just knocking out everyone in his path. Knocked out Chase Hooper, knocked out Shayilan Nurdembieke, knocked out Melchizael Costa, knocked out Sungwoo Choi. He's just knocking out everyone in his path. And I think that the fact that he's going to be taller than Kyle Nelson, because a lot of fights I've seen with Kyle Nelson in it, Kyle Nelson was the taller guy, and that's where he had a little bit of an advantage. But I think that with the fact that Steve Garcia is going to be taller, a couple inches taller, and all well 1 inch taller actually, and 2 inch reach advantage. I think it's just going to be. I think Steve Garcia is going to come out to be a little bigger than him in this one, and I like Steve Garcia, man. The power is too much, I think, for Kyle Nelson. We've seen Kyle Nelson get rocked, even against Fernando Padilla in that fight. Fernando Padilla rocked him, Kyle Nelson, in that fight, man. Even Blake Builder got him with some hard shots there in that one. So, uh,
But he dominated that fight though.
yeah, I mean, Kyle Nelson is very good. I just think that I got the slight edge here on Steve Garcia. The
Hey,
main,
I can't blame you for that one, for a guy that's been looking the way he's looking lately. Except
I
for
just
the
can't.
back of the headshots.
Yeah, exactly. And I just can't jump off the Steve Garcia train just yet, man. I still think that what he's doing out there is phenomenal, and I think he's got a very good shot here at getting the knockout. So give me Steve Garcia by knockout to Kyle Nelson. I think he knocks him out in the first or second round. All right. So we are in disagreement again in this one here. Let's move on up to the next fight here. The ladies going at it. We got Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva. And, give me some Natalia Silva. Give me some Natalia Silva all day. This girl has been amazing lately. Jessica Andrade is just, she's good, but I think she's starting to slow down now. I think that it's she did get those 2 wins, but you saw that she was on a losing streak when she lost to Erin Blanchfield, who subbed her. And Erin Blanchfield was actually piecing her up in that fight, man. And Erin Blanchfield is not even really a good striker. Xiao Nanyan knocked her out. Tatiana Suarez subbed her. She got the win against Mackenzie Dern. But the Marina Rodriguez fight, I have to say that fight, man, was very close. I think that Marina Rodriguez was doing a lot better than the judges felt. I think that she should have won that fight. Marina Rodriguez was piecing her up in that fight, landing way more straight punches to the face. I mean, remember, Jessica Andrade was bloodied up in that fight. Andrade, she just keeps moving in forward all the time, leaves herself open to get hit. Natalia Silva is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage and be 3 inches taller. So this is a great advantage spot for Natalia. Her high leg kicks, her low leg kicks. She's going to kick the shit out of Jessica Andrade's legs, making it hard for Andrade to advance. She's also going to give her a lot of striking to the face, straight punches. And I think by punching at a distance there, she'll keep Jessica Andrade away from her. Andrade will maybe try to grapple with her and try to take her down. She will have a hard time because Natalia Silva's takedown defense is amazing. And she also has grappling as well. So Natalia Silva's the pick all the way, my man. I got to go with her. She's just been amazing lately in the UFC, destroying everybody in her path. Jasmine Jusita Vicious, Teresa Bleda, Victoria Leonardo, Andrea Lee, Vivian Arroyo. She's just smashing through them. And I think Jessica Andrade is the next victim. So I got Natalia Silva winning this one by decision. The only way Jessica Andrade can win is getting a knockout punch or some kind of crazy submission. She's going to have to get a finish to win this one.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about, well, look, if she brings it, she's always tough for everybody, Andrade. But in this case, I gotta go with the old saying of speed kills. I think if she stays on her horse the whole time, Silva's going to be able to just win on volume and by doing that, keep Andrade away from her. I think Andrade also is like she's taken a lot of damage and she's going to be a lot slower here. It's very apparent that she's not going to be as fast, and I think it's going to frustrate her. And I think Silva's going to win this one by decision and keep the ball rolling. So
Yeah,
what?
Jessica Andrade is just so short, man. At 5'1" to 5'4", man, that's good. That height advantage is going to play a big factor with Natalia Silva. I think it's going to be hard for Jessica Andrade to get in close enough to get hit, to get those powerful punches that she's got.
I think it's going to be her speed more than the length because you can't forget that Andrade's been fighting people longer than her whole life, you know,
Oh
and
yeah, for
the
sure. But
best.
Natalia Silva, yeah, you're right. She's just way faster, way more crisper with
Yeah.
punches, and yeah, man. I think she's gonna piece her up, man. I think that you'll see Jessica Andrade get bloodied up again with the punches to the face nonstop as she keeps trying to come in, and she's gonna get frustrated.
I
Jessica
see.
Andrade's gonna get frustrated by Natalia, by the fact that Natalia's gonna be moving around the cage, dancing around, staying at a distance, striking, kick, and it's going to be hard for Andrade.
And once that frustration sets in, like she's not going to be effective after that anymore, and possibly open her up to getting knocked out. You never know.
All right, we're in agreement with this one, finally. All right, let's move on
I,
up to the next one. The main event of the evening, Gilbert Burns against Sean Brady. I'm curious to see who you got in this one, Andy O.
yeah, now this one I'm looking forward to. The whole card is actually pretty
It's
good.
pretty good, yeah.
Surprisingly for an Apex card. Here, man, a lot of things were telling me to go with Sean Brady, but I just can't do it. I'm gonna have to go with the veteran
What?
Burns. Yeah, gonna have to
Oh
do.
my gosh, okay.
Listen, man, there are reasons for this. I think if he's coming in healthy, which I assume he is, and I don't think he was completely healthy, or actually even 75% healthy for his last two fights.
Man,
His
when has he been healthy?
Well, look, you could say the same for all of it, but that's why I said like 75. I don't think he was even at 75, right? Like he was healthier against Masvidal. He was healthier against Magny. I'd say he was healthy against his loss to Khamzat Chimaev, right? But his last two losses to Bilal and Jack Maddalena, I don't think he was healthy, but it's more to do with his striking. I think if his shoulders are healthy in this, when it comes to the striking game, I think he's better and more technical than Brady as far as that goes. I think he's tougher as Brady than Brady. And Brady believes he's from that new school, new generation of jujitsu that Gilbert Burns' school of jujitsu can't compete with. I don't really think that's true. I don't really remember Gilbert Burns being dominated on the ground, just lying on there by anybody, and I don't think this guy's going to be the one to do it. Also, the chin is still questionable for me on Sean Brady. He got knocked out Bilal Muhammad right there, and it was something, man. Like Bilal Muhammad doesn't knock out people like that, but he knocked him out like that. He also beat Kevin Gastelum in their fight with a Kimura, who came in overweight at the weight he should be fighting at to avoid those problems. So he's losing to a guy that doesn't know whether he's coming or going. And I think he has too much confidence in his jujitsu. I think when he gets Gilbert Burns down, if he does, Gilbert Burns is going to surprise him by being able to get out of anything and get up pretty quickly and start laying down the damage again on Brady. So give me a knockout or decision for Gilbert Burns in this one. What
You
about
know
you,
what?
really?
You know what, man? Gilbert Burns, I like this guy, and I've liked him for a long time. It's time now. You've mentioned this before. When you start to see a fighter going downhill, and I think that this is the time now where Gilbert Burns is slowly declining.
Even better when you can kind of pinpoint the time you think, oh, the next fight's going to be their slowdown, for financial purposes.
I
But,
think that this is
but yeah,
one for me personally. I think that this is where we're going to see Gilbert Burns just hasn't looked like himself. He's 38 years old now. Coming off that knockout loss to Jack Della Maddalena. And then losing to Bilal Muhammad by decision there. Yeah, he did get the 2 wins against Neil Magny and Jorge Masvidal, but he did lose to Khamzat Chimaev by unanimous decision, which is not a bad
He
loss
looked
there.
great against Kamaev there. He looked great. He could have won
But
that fight,
but
though.
Sean Brady, man, is at his peak now at 31 years old. These guys are the same height, same reach, pretty much. The guys beat Christian Aguilera by submission. He subbed Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews is a fucking powerful beast. He also got a unanimous decision on Michael Chiesa, who's also very good at subs and grappling. Yeah, he
Unanimous
got. I
decision.
think that Bilal just got lucky in that fight and just caught him with something to knock him out. I don't think Gilbert Burns has power in his hands to knock him.
Oh, he does. He does.
And he got that nice submission Kimura against Kelvin Gastelum. Now, again, I think for betting purposes that Gilbert Burns is a good dog, and we will talk about that on the betting show. I do like Gilbert Burns by submission. I feel that if he does win, it's going to be by submission because that's all he really has. His main focus is his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's
That's
not
what he
true.
has. I've
That's
never
not
seen
true.
Gilbert Burns knock out anyone for a long ass time. It's been. Let me. You know what? Let's go take a look.
Most of Gilbert's fights happen on the feet because people don't want to take Gilbert down. It's rare. That's why you have stand-up fights with Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns has 6 knockouts. I just want to see when his last knockout win was, man. It's dating to a long ass time ago, man. Like, yeah, he knocked out Damian Maia back in March of 2020. So we're looking at over 4 years ago, man. Was the last time he knocked out anybody, and it was Damian Maia, who's a guy that doesn't really have any kind of a stand-up game. Sean Brady can fight. He's got some stand-up. He could punch. He could throw punches. He's a good striker. But other than that, most of his wins have been by decision. Rafael Lovato, Stephen, Wonderboy Thompson. Um, Neil Magny was a submission there and a decision against Jorge. So he doesn't really knock out anybody, man. I don't see Gilbert Burns being a threat on the feet to Sean Brady. I think that his path to
Tom
victory.
Brady has 3 knockouts, just so you know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that Gilbert Burns, I don't see him winning by knockout. I see him winning by decision, or he gets a submission. I can't see him winning by knockout. I can't see him knocking out Sean Brady. I think Sean Brady also, the way he will win is also the same thing, by submission or decision. I think that he's not going to knock out Gilbert Burns either. He's got 5 subs and 8 decision wins. So Sean Brady's a guy who will sub you or win by decision. So this is going to be a really good fight. It's going to be close. I got the slight edge on Sean Brady. I think that there's a decline in Gilbert Burns. He's just slower now, not as explosive anymore, not as fast, and he just seems to be like not fighting as he used to anymore. He's not into it anymore. It seems like I just see him on a decline, man. I like Sean Brady moving up on the come up here and getting this win here.
We disagree, my friend.
Disagreed again. So we are disagreeing on quite a few fights. We'll see if if in our final predictions on Friday, if I switch my picks or if Andy O switches his picks. We'll see here. Like and subscribe, folks. There you have it. Our early predictions for the main card for UFC Vegas 97. Peace out, everyone.
Come back on Friday for barrels of fun.
Oh yeah. Happy to be back. KAMMA. Peace out, folks.